My mom died in 2004 on Valentine's Day after spending 2 months in the hospital from complications of pneumonia. A few days after her burial, my brothers and sisters went over to the family home, and we basically going through things, and we took things that we wanted. We put aside stuff that we wanted to donate, and anything that wasn't salvageable, we actually carted out to the back pasture and lit on fire in a big bonfire, a glorious bonfire. After everybody had gone home, I decided to stay the night in the family home. So I went, got my camera out, went to my mom's bedroom and stood in the middle of the bedroom because I knew this would be the last time I'd see the bedroom this way. It would change after all that. So I stood in the middle of the room. There were no lights on. It was dark outside. And I took a picture. And then I slowly rotated, stopped, took a picture. Slowly rotated and stopped and took a picture. I did this 4 times. When I got the film back, I looked at the photographs, and there was light streaks through each image. There were no reflective surfaces in Mom's bedroom. There were no lights on. It was just odd. I thought I checked the negatives. It was that way on the negatives as well. Can't explain it. A year later, I decided to return to the family home for a visit. It had remained empty, basically. I had a younger brother that was taking care of the animals that had remained on the premises and kind of took care of the property and things that he could do. But anyway, I was in the home by myself, had kind of positioned myself next to her bedroom door and was just kind of really missing her. And I heard a scratching on the front door. I thought, well, what the heck is that? I know Mom didn't have a pet. She hadn't had a pet for years. So I went to the front door and I looked out the glass window pane. There was this golden retriever standing by the front steps, just kind of jumping up and down and kind of all happy and stuff. So I opened the front door and it was like saying, come on out, come on and play. I was like, well, whose dog is this? It was a busy street, lots of traffic. So I knew he couldn't have possibly come down the road. He would have been hit. I knew none of my neighbors had a golden retriever. So I decided I would keep him in the yard, lock the gate. I gave him some people food because that's all I had, and a bowl of water. And I figured the next day I would put him in the car and drive down the road, see if I could find who his owner was. So the next day, bright and early, it was nice sunshine. Air was a little cool, but not too bad. I get in the car, open the door for him. He jumps right in like he's done this before. I get off down the driveway. We go driving down the street about 3/4 of a mile, and I'm kind of driving slow, kind of looking, and I see a house with toys in the front yard. And I'm thinking, oh, kids, that's probably their dog. So I stop, knock on the front door. Woman answers, and she says, well, no, it's not our dog, but I think it might belong to some people that live down the street on the other side of the road. So I said, okay. So I get back in the car and I drive down the street a little further, and I come to this house, and you can't even hardly see the house because there are these tall hedges. It must have been about 10 feet tall, surrounding the whole property, except for an entry in the hedges where the driveway was. So I slowly drove down the driveway, and there was nobody home. And I'm thinking, well, maybe this is where he's supposed to be. So I open the door and let him out. And he like jumps out and looks around. And it's like, yep, this is my home. This is where I'm supposed to be. And there's a dog kennel in the backyard. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably the place. But there's nobody there, and I feel kind of weird, but I leave him there, and I decide that I'll come back later to the next day and see if everything is okay. And as I turn to leave, I suddenly realize this is my grandfather's house. It had been renovated, and I almost didn't recognize it. But this is where my mom grew up. And I'm more going, wow, this is kind of strange. So I get back in the car and I'm thinking about all this stuff as I drive back to my family home. And I come back to the home and I open the front door, and of course, the home has been empty for a year, and I'm just kind of standing there in the silence of the house, listening to the noises a house makes after it's been sitting empty for so long. And I walk up to an area where my mom used to sit all the time. She had a rocking chair, and she would sit by the phone so she could talk to her friends and neighbors, and she would read the newspaper there, and she had a magnifying light that she would use because her vision was so bad. And but that's where she her main place where she would stay to keep in contact with everyone. And I'm leaning against the door jamb again, just really missing her. And out of the corner of my eye, this white mist appears, kind of the size of a dinner plate, and it's just rotating and convoluting and in and out and stuff like that. And I slowly turn to look at it, and as I look at it, it just goes poof and disappears. And until that moment, I hadn't realized I'd been holding my breath. And I go, wow, what was that? Up until that point in my life, I had always considered myself a bit spiritual, but only half-heartedly believed in an afterlife, sort of a life after death thing. I was rather like a Sunday painter who only makes attempts at painting. This experience, however, changed my viewpoint entirely and gave me immense peace. I knew that somehow, some way, my mom had made her presence known. Thanks, Mom.